Hello friends, my name's James, and this is my 1965 Alberg 30 sloop SV Tritea. We're on a mission to sail around the world and see as much of this beautiful planet as possible. On this season, we're working our way through New Zealand. I want to share with you all the magic that is Aotearoa. Hello friends, it has been a very long and slow road to get to this video. Over 2.5 months ago, I pulled Tritea's sad engine out after arriving here in New Zealand and took her to J&B Marine here in Opua. And she is finally done. She was finished yesterday. They had her running in the shop and all is good. I paid the final bill today. The total cost, here's my invoices. The total cost, and this is US dollars, was $3,282 for the rebuild. Now when I bought her rebuilt in Los Angeles, when I originally installed this engine, I bought it out of some dude's garage, like in the Inland Empire outside of Los Angeles, for $3,300. So it's almost the exact same cost as the other rebuild. And they did a lot more on this rebuild. We required having the engine bored out and oversized pistons bought and installed, all new gaskets. They found a cracked bearing, so they replaced all the bearings. So a much more extensive install than I know that dude did originally, and one that will last me for a very long time with preventive maintenance, and I make sure that, you know, I don't suffer the same issue I had last time. The engine failed because I had big following seas between American Samoa and Fiji, which forced water up the exhaust pipe and back into the engine, and then seawater set on the pistons during that passage. This is a known thing that happens. Some boats have a little flapper valve that work in varying degrees of efficiency. I had actually bought a bronze Graco shutoff valve that I wanted to install inline in the exhaust hose. Bought that in LA before I even left, but due to the pandemic part shortages, it was impossible for me to find the bronze fittings that would fit on the exhaust hose before I left. I couldn't find them in Hawaii either. I looked for them in Hawaii. So it was all like kind of out of my control how the whole thing went down, and I had to pay the price. But it's all paid up, it's all done, and that's part of cruising, is like you have to be prepared for these sort of like epic costs that sometimes you'll run into. So we're all square on that, and now it's time to go pick up the engine. My buddy Dale from SB Womble is going to be joining me and helping me roll it over here, and then we'll swing it in the boat, get in the cockpit, and then I'll spend this afternoon building the gantry. I've got some better wood to build a better gantry than the one I used to fly it out with, because that one was really sketchy. And then tomorrow morning, Dale will come back and assist me on us getting it down into the engine bay. It'll be nice having another set of hands. It makes it a lot less sketchy with a little bit of help. So let's head over to J&B and pick up the engine.
That's because I've called the cops, like pocket called the cops that many times now, just an emergency SOS. Oh yeah. It's done.
So again, the rings were just bruised. Yeah, the balls were bruised.
So how the balls you again?
Yep. So I mean, I'm hoping to get another 10 years at least.
Put a ratchet strap around it now.
So this is James and Oscar, and they did the rebuild. Osprey primarily did
Yeah.
most of the rebuild.
Yeah.
Is this your
Yeah,
first?
so he did everything.
Your first rebuild in the shop?
Second.
Yeah,
Second?
second.
Cool.
Second.
And then I know, well, what all did we do? We had to,
Yeah,
you had to,
so oversized bores,
Mhm.
oversized pistons, 0.25.
that's because these freshwater ones don't have sleeves, so it was a bigger pain
so
in
they
the ass.
adjust the block. So we sent them to the machinist, got it 0.25 oversized. New bottom end bearings, new main bearings, new journals, new crank seal, new front crank seal, timing gasket, sun gasket, head gasket. So yeah.
Yeah, and then you found a cracked bearing, right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah.
now, like, how does that happen? Like, how does a bearing get cracked?
Just heat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
heat or an over 10 at some point.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome. So, it's all done, ready to get her back to
Ready
the
to
boat,
roll.
put her back in, and actually go see New Zealand. So, thanks,
Yeah,
dudes.
no worries,
Really
man.
appreciate. I know it's been like
Been
a nightmare with the
journey.
holiday and stuff,
Yep.
so I appreciate it.
No, all good, James.
Yeah, awesome.
Got it.
So anyway, it's over, and then I'm gonna go. Well, we'll get the come along. Well, I'll go jack it up at the mast. You gonna swing it out for me, Dale, and see if it that reaches, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me. I just want to get her under load. Let's get her
If
under
you
load.
back that off, you can sort of just pull on it.
Okay, I'm gonna gear her up. Yeah.
Got you and James on it, yeah?
Okay.
I'll control the sheet. Happy, James?
Yep.
These are over. Good. Alright.
I just want to set her in the cockpit floor for now.
You center?
Okay. Okay, you ready? We're gonna go. We're gonna go to down. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, down. Be real tight. I just don't know. We'll have to see. It's a very small area.
Yeah, because if you measure basically from your bottom pulley when it's fully cinched up to the
Mhm.
top of the blue.
It is.
Well,
Yeah.
we can,
Engine's in. Thanks, guys.
pleasure.
Womble,
very much.
Oscar, we're stoked. We got it in the cockpit. She's halfway home, and tomorrow we'll finish the install. So it's the next morning after getting the engine. I'd planned on putting the engine in today at 11 a.m. when my buddy Dale from SV Womble was free. And I was paid up to the marina until today, so I went into the office this morning to see about extending. And they're like, oh, that slip is rented out, so you have to move. Which makes sense that even down to in the 11th hour of getting the engine installed, I would still have to do more silliness with the dinghy on the hip. With the engine in the cockpit still rigged up on the come along. My life is a comedy of errors sometimes. So we only have to move around the finger to another slip on the same. It's on the same finger. I'm on E51 right now. I have to move to E36. It's a bigger slip, so I had to pay more. But I paid up through. It's Wednesday, I think, right now. I paid up through to I'm gonna leave here on Monday and start the sort of sea trials on the engine. So Dale's gonna go ahead and come over at 11 and just kind of spot me with his dinghy to make sure everything stays chill on the boat move. But it is very funny to me that it's so close to being able to just pop the engine in and get her dialed and re-hooked up. And we still have to do one more bit of silliness. the time has come. It's time to put the engine back into Tritea. Yesterday I built this, what I call the Cowboy Gantry 2.0, a safer version than the one I made last time. I had much better timber to work with this time. And I designed it to give me sort of the maximum height I could possibly get under the Dodger with the come along, which is the chain fall winch that we use to lower the engine down into the engine bay. And I'm happy with the way it came out. So now it's just a matter of like winching the engine up with the boom, getting her closer into the companionway, switching the come along from the boom to the gantry, and then flying her up and flying her in. My good buddy Dale of SB Womble will be here to be an extra set of hands, which is nice because the tricky part is getting it from the cockpit underneath the gantry that's like sitting up on the companionway. That's the hardest maneuver. Everything else is easy. It's just cranking. So let's get this process started. Okay, so you guys know Dale. He's gonna help me out get this puppy back in the boat, and we're just gonna do it the same way I did when I took it out, but it'll be easier because there's two of us.
Yeah. 5-minute job.
Yeah, exactly, 5-minute job. So we'll see you guys in 45 minutes. Okay, you want to start?
Coming down?
Yep. Okay, pause.
Paused.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
There we
Easy,
go.
nice and easy. Okay, just watch that. Yeah, you see how she's like trying to talk.
Mm-hmm. How's this?
Okay, maybe we pause right there and let me see if I can just get her onto the ledge. If you hold that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Good.
So, and soon we'll be able to start kind of pushing her back.
Slack that out. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, easy, yep.
Mm-hmm. How we look? We good?
We're good. Pop them semi here for a second.
And I think we're kind of right under her, right? So she's not going to slide. She shouldn't slide towards you anymore. I mean, she's still going to be tippy maybe, but...
A tiny
so,
bit. There we go. Okay, you've got it. You got it? Okay, hold that a second. That's good. I can come towards you now if you want. How's it feel?
Can you lift it with me? One,
Yep,
two.
I'm lifting. Okay, easy. Okay,
There we go.
she's in. So now what we've got is the flange on the back of your gearbox, okay? That's got to clear the top. So we'll probably have to pivot her in, then twist her, if you follow me.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's I always have to spin her as I'm bringing her in, so.
Cool. You visual with this, because that's the sharp bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want me to come up a tiny bit more to get you clear of that a little bit?
Yeah, let me actually get rid of everything down here first.
Yeah, no dramas. Gantry's doing the job.
Yeah.
You happy?
Okay, you want to try to do 2 clicks?
Yeah, just take her up a little. Okay, ready?
Uh-huh.
And again?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, you're clear. Completely clear. Now, can I try and
Okay.
ease you back a bit?
Uh-huh.
Just a touch, just to
Just
clear
one
this.
leg at a time?
Yeah, ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Hang on.
I think she's fine.
No, I'm not going to do that because she's at the limit of splay up here.
Yeah.
You happy to hold some tension back so she clears this? And I'll lower for you. Switching to down. Ready? She's switched to down. There we go.
Just make sure this chain falls free.
I'll take the. There you go. Happy?
Yep.
Okay, 1 sec. I'll get my knee into it to give you some help. All right, we're good. My knee up for you, so we'll wait for you.
Okay, yeah, she seems good. She seems like she's in a happy spot.
Good?
Yep.
Alright. Okay. How you doing on height, James?
I'm great, yeah. I'm like, further? I don't know, half a meter.
Oh, God, okay, fair enough.
Want it to get on. I don't want the weight on my water pump.
Yes.
So that's the only tricky thing. So maybe keep going, and then I might have you.
I'm gonna ease down, okay? Nice and easy. You happy?
I think so. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Okay. Go ahead. All right, we're made on the back mounts.
Copy.
Okay, keep going.
We've got slack.
Keep going. You can just put it in neutral and then turn that knob and I'll slack it.
Sure. Okay. It's all yours.
A little. Okay.
All right. It's full travel on now.
Now the tricky bit is not cutting my fingers off as I do this part.
Sounds like sliding in well.
Okay.
Sean?
There she is. Fucking badass.
Come on. It was nearly a 5-minute job.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
That's perfect, isn't it? Also, there's loads of room in there. Barry can get straight on that.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Awesome.
I can also easily slide her out to kind of eyeball shit.
What a great effort, James. Look at that.
Woo! Thank you, Dale.
Hey, it's so satisfying to do it.
Much easier with a friend. Holy shitballs.
It's a pleasure, honestly. It's so cool to see this back in.
Oh,
Gets you back out of the water.
We are stoked, yeah.
Where you should be.
Very close to anchoring next to Womble with an actual auxiliary diesel.
Yeah, we could celebrate with a glass of fizzy water with you.
That's right. I go hard. Awesome.
That's so cool. She's nice and in.
Now, the next step, we'll just get her hooked back up.
Yeah. Let's get her started.
And just like that, the engine's fully installed and hooked up. Now, if only it was that easy. I spent 3 days really getting it hooked up. Laid on my belly all day yesterday getting everything done. And I didn't film that because it's kind of pointless. I've already made a video of that, and I'll put a card in the top of the screen right now to the original install. But yesterday I got everything, got the engine aligned. I put all new bolts on the coupling, the flanges that meet the prop shaft to the transmission, or gearbox as it's called. I got all the fuel lines run. I relocated the fuel filter into a better spot so I can change the filter underway in here rather than upside down in the cockpit at sea. What else did I do? Hooked up all the electrical, and I think that's it. That's what it took. This morning I hooked up the sea strainer and the rest of the power, like the power to the engine. And I think everything's hooked up. So we're gonna find out. Now, I'm sure that I'm gonna have to bleed this engine again. but I just wanted to have you guys here so you could see the first attempt. I think that's fair and accurate, you know, instead of just showing everything totally done. So my guess is it'll probably fire up and run a little bit because they ran it at the shop, so there's diesel in the system. And then I think it'll die because there's air in the line. I know that there's air in the line from the fuel filter to the engine. And once we get to that point, I'll show you how you go about bleeding it. Oh, so here's the moment of truth. Let's see. So I have the throttle unhooked so I can give it fuel right here at the governor by hand. I have like a starter switch that I've installed because on these Yanmars you have to crack the nuts on the injectors, turn it over. When it starts, then you tighten down the nuts. So it's easier to have one here. If you're solo, you can't be in the cockpit and down here at the same time. So here we go. Let's try it. See if there's water. There's good water flow. Okay, so it's the next morning, and I just ran the engine for probably 5 minutes until she died. I knew she was gonna die, like I mentioned, because I knew there was air in the system. So it's amazing how long these engines will run just with the diesel that's inside the system. It shows you how little diesel it uses to run. So now I have to bleed the system, which I could do in my sleep. I've done it so much, but I thought I would show y'all the basic step-throughs as to how to do that on one of these Yanmars. So the way it happens, if you don't know about diesels, I'll explain it, is if there's any air in the system, it prevents fuel from continuing to the engine and the engine dies. So you have to bleed it. So there's a couple of bleed screws. There's one on this is the secondary filter. So that's the first point. You want to crack that bleed screw. And I have a priming bulb. There's a little hand pump on the lifter pump, but I've found it to be wholly ineffective. So I have one of these priming bulbs, which I don't think you'll be able to see. It's tucked away. But so that's the first thing I do is crack this, pump it till diesel comes out of here, and then you close this down so no air can get back in there. And then the next step on bleeding these Yanmars is there's no way to use the hand pump through the high pressure pump to the injectors. So then we crack the injectors and you turn the engine over, and once diesel starts shooting out, a lot of times they'll just start up even with these cracked. Once diesel starts coming out of these injectors bolts, then you tighten those down, and that's the whole process. Pretty easy. Well, it's easy unless you're in a bucking sea and it still won't start and you're like screaming into the sky as Neptune laughs at you. So we'll go ahead and start that process now. You see how there's diesel coming out? You can tighten that down, and that section is bled. Now, on my passage to Hawaii, underway with everything else that was going on, I installed a starter switch, which I mentioned previous in this video, under my chart table, to where I can just reach under my start table, or my chart, where I can just reach under my chart table, push a button, and the whole reason I did it was so that I could access these injectors right here. So you crack both of those. I'm going to turn it over until diesel shoots out, and then you tighten them down while the engine's running. Here we go. And it's that simple. If you're trying to bleed your engine due to a changed fuel filter, that's kind of a whole nother can of worms. Because you want to make sure that when you change those fuel filters, you prime the filter. So you fill the whole filter, and like mine has the clear bowl at the bottom so I can see when there's water in there to drain off. So you want to fill all that to the top with diesel and then put the filter on, because otherwise you're just never going to get your system bled, because that thing's full of air. But she started up super quick because I was just running her, and because she's completely rebuilt. She started great yesterday on that first try. I was shocked. But I was also comforted in the fact that I knew she was going to die, because I've done this so many times, because there was air in the system. So like, and if you were new to this process, she ran probably 10 minutes between yesterday and today with the diesel that was in the system. So it's very deceiving. And then she dies out of nowhere. And the problem is, like, had I not known that was coming and I had just warmed her up and then took her out for a test drive, she would have died on me out in the middle. In the worst case scenario, she'd have died on me right here around all these other boats in the slip. At least if I'd gotten out, I could have dropped the anchor and sorted it, but then I would have had to bled the engine out there. But I knew to run her until she died, because that's just the way it is. So I am very, very happy with everything so far. And tomorrow we do our test drive. If you enjoy the content on this channel and would like to contribute, you can consider joining the Patreon crew. Thanks for watching. Fair winds until next time.